Welcome to the Screenflex iPad 2 digitizer screen replacement. I'll be using a digitizer screen purchased commonly on the internet on the iPad 2 today. With the button at the bottom, we're going to start removing the digitizer screen from the lower left-hand corner. You're going to watch for the camera at the top and the right-hand side, especially near the top where there are delicate connections. We're going to pry the digitizer screen off of the frame by heating the frame slowly with a hot air gun or a hair dryer to soften the glue. Heat only one area at a time. I'm starting with the lower left-hand corner. You want the glass to be warm to the touch, but you don't want to overheat it. Getting the glass too hot might damage the monitor beneath it. Moving the heat gun constantly so that I don't concentrate the heat into one area. Warming it slowly. When it's warm enough to soften the glue, you can start to pry the pry bar into the corner. You want to be just below the glass. I'm prying in an upward motion. The monitor below the glass could easily be damaged if you pried downward. If you look at my drawing here, you'll see that I'm levering down and I'm not levering the point of the tool into the monitor. A little fast motion here, you'll see as I work my way around the screen, a little bit at a time, back and forth with the heat gun as needed. I'm placing a pick into the open edge here to keep it from resealing itself as I go. Carefully avoid the camera as you work your way along the top edge. Along the bottom, you'll want to be careful to avoid the button. I have broken pieces in the corner here. Some pieces will come out as you go. Now you can cut the ribbon connector. It's on this open edge. It's part of the digitizer. You'll have a new one on your new digitizer screen. It needs to be cut in order to get the glass to come completely up. Once you get it to this far edge, the right edge, you want to heat the edge and bend the digitizer screen up, releasing it as it goes so that it opens like a book. Once the bulk of your screen is removed, you can now start working on the small pieces that may be left behind. I'm being very careful here because I don't want to damage the monitor. These pieces are sharp and they're small. I am not using the heat gun any longer at this point. The reason being is the monitor is now exposed and the heat would be hitting it directly, and this would damage the monitor to the point where you would see distortions in your screen. So I don't recommend heating on pieces. I only recommend heating when the monitor is covered completely by the digitizer screen, which protects it from direct heat. Working my way around here, taking off little pieces as I go. Depending on how badly damaged your screen is, this could be a tedious process. Now I have my pieces removed. I'm going to take my button off of the monitor, just pry it off on two sides. There are 4 screws that hold the monitor in place, one in each corner. They're fairly obvious. Remove them one at a time. They are very small, so be careful where you place them. The monitor is now free to come loose from the frame. You can see the connector here on the left-hand side. It's a black wire that runs up from the edge to the monitor screen. That's the most important area you want to protect when you're removing this. I lifted that side just so you could see it. Now we're going to take the screen off from the right, opening it like a book, just folding it over onto the table next to you. The cable's long enough to allow some of this movement. So you can lay the monitor down next to the tablet with the monitor cable connected. The monitor cable is held by a little wire clip. You can see me picking at it here. Once it lifts up, it acts as a handle. You don't want to pull up as I'm doing here. You want to push it forward so it slides out. Now the monitor is completely free. You can see the remnants of my ribbon connector there. That will need to be removed next. There are two little black plastic clips that cover the ribbon connector. They'll need to be pried up. Pry them up from the outer edge. They'll click or pop as they pop open. Once they're up, you can just slide the ribbon out to the right. At this point, you'll want to start to clean the edge of your frame from all of the glue. It's really a double-sided tape, you'll notice. It has a very sticky, clear mastic on it. You don't have to get it completely off. I'm working in little sections. I'm trying to get the bulk of it off. What you don't want is a high spot. You certainly don't want any little chips or fragments of glass. You don't want any big lumps of the sticky glue left behind. Once it's relatively clean, you'll want to repair any damage to your frame. I have a small dent in this corner, point of impact. I'm just using a nail file and whatever I can to push that out so the new digitizer screen will fit comfortably into that rounded corner. If it's bent in at all, it will interfere with the new digitizer screen coming in. Here comes the trickiest part I found, and that is the tapes that are supplied with the new digitizer are in sections, and it's pretty difficult to tell exactly where they go. This is a little bit guesswork. You basically want to tape down any area that was taped previously. You can kind of see where the glue is left behind, the old tape on the old digitizer. You want to put strips down. Obviously there's 4 corners. It's just a matter of kind of figuring out where they go. I suspect these tapes that come with these kits probably fit several different types of iPads, and they're not perfect for any one in particular. I had to do a little bit of cutting and trimming of mine to get enough pieces to fit exactly where they looked like they should go. There was some confusion here, as you can see. I recommend that you don't stick them down completely until you're sure where you want to place them. I'm just lightly tacking mine in place until I reached a decision on where they would go, and now I'm putting them down more firmly. There's a lot of little pieces that fill in between. I had a piece that was too thick. It didn't seem to want to fit in any certain spot. The 2 smallest pieces go on either side of the button. You can see me putting them on here. Once I got all of the smaller pieces placed, I decided this wide strip was just too wide. I cut it down the middle lengthwise and used a strip of it elsewhere. I imagine you will have to do a little cutting and piecing as you go as well. You can now remove the protective backing off of the inside of your digitizer glass. Place the button, the home button, into the hole in proper position. There's a flat edge on the metal inside that goes along the bottom, toward the bottom of the screen. Over the top of the button goes the little bar that has a very small button in the center. It's what the push button clicks when it goes down. You'll want to make sure that that little clickable button is centered right over the center of your round button in your digitizer screen. Peel the tapes, stick it down securely on either side. Place the small shield over the camera. It fits into 2 little holes in the frame. You're now ready to put your digitizer screen on. I'm going to start with the ribbon cable, slide it into its connector, reverse of the way it came out. Sometimes there's a little plastic tab, as you see here, that's extra on the cable that can be discarded. Slide it into the connector, Be careful with this ribbon. Cutting it or tearing it would damage it completely. Once it's slid all the way into its connector, you can flip the little tabs and press them down. Make sure they click into place, and your ribbon will be held securely in place. The ribbon itself has a few creases in it, which indicate where it folds and bends. You'll want to make sure that it's pushed down flat and into the corner here so that the monitor can fit over the top of it. Once you get it in a good position, you can bring your monitor over, lay it down on top of the digitizer. Going to connect this cable, reverse it the same way we took it off. It's going to slide into the connector, and the little bar that we flipped earlier will now be pressed down till it clicks. Make sure that it is clicked down all the way to hold it in securely. I'm exercising caution here because I know how important it is to have the connectors connected properly. Now you can flip the monitor over. Make sure the ribbon cable gets pushed all the way into the recess below the monitor as it goes in. When you've got it down into position, you're ready to install the 4 screws. Make sure it lays completely flat. I think it's a good idea to put the screws in loosely at first. Once all 4 are in place, go around and tighten them down. I find it's a good idea not to tighten one screw too soon until I'm sure that they all fit in and everything's in position properly. A little fast motion here, and you'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, and I go around and I tighten them down. Now we want to get everything clean, monitor and digitizer. Any dust or fingerprints left in between here will definitely show once the digitizer screen is taped into place. A good lint-free cloth will do the trick. Remove the backing off the tapes. I've done this already here, and you're ready to flip your digitizer over and stick it down. Alignment here is key. I started in one corner, then the edge, get it all the way into the white plastic gasket, make sure it's fitting. Want to press it down firmly but not too hard. You'll want to make sure that you've got it completely inside the gasket, and once it's secure in the frame, you're done. It's ready to turn on.